I'm Samina from TV 786. We are at Nehru Centre, London, and I've got a professional photographer who is doing it for a long time, Philip McCormick. He has been to India, lived there for 3 years, and he had taken several photographs which shows the culture, diversity, and the problems of India. And I believe the pictures which we have here at the exhibition, they make us think a lot. And we will talk about some of his photographs, and we will speak to him about his experience in India. Hi, Philip. How are you?
Hi. I'm okay. There's been a big turnout tonight, and that's really good. Although there was so many people, I was worried that obviously it was too crammed and people couldn't see the photographs. But you know, after a while, people left and there was more space, so that's good.
Philip, how was your experience? When you were in India, obviously United Kingdom is a big country, it's well advanced and well developed, and then going from here, living in India. What made you take all these photographs? Because most of these photographs, they show the problems in that it represents a culture, it represents problems. So what made you think?
Well, actually, I think overall the exhibition shows a range of different aspects of India. So, you know, the exhibition starts outside there with the two photographs of modern banks, which you know, big chrome and steel buildings in North India, in the Bandar Kurla complex, which show, you know, they represent the kind of new forward India, the fact that it's becoming an economic force in the world, and all these kind of things. And I've got photographs that are quite neutral, you know, like the religious temples and things. So it's by no means just photographs of poor people or poverty, but I felt that obviously as a Westerner, the poverty struck me very deeply. It struck me culturally because it's not something I see obviously so much over here in the UK and in Europe. So, but I think the overall exhibition is a cross section. I try to make it a cross section of different aspects of India, from the poverty to the religion to the modern new economy. So I don't think it's by any manner of means entirely about the poverty. But obviously I'm a visual artist, so the other reason for photographing these people was it was just visually very strong. You know, it was very interesting, especially in black and white. There's a whole black and white section, and there's these guys who are in sort of South London, South Mumbai, sorry. I was walking through the street and I came across this, I think it was a Christian charity who on a daily basis was giving out food to men on the street, and I was really struck by the fact that these people were like dogs on the street, like stray dogs. I mean, they were quite kind of haunted looking, and the way they did this every day, and when I started photographing them, I was very aware of their dignity because I always ask people, unless it's far away, maybe I take a shot, and I don't think it's particularly relevant to ask them. But in a situation like this, it was so intimate that I asked permission, and I said to the English-speaking aid worker who was dishing out the food from the kind of counter, you know, can you check with these guys if it's okay to photograph them? And yeah, it seemed okay, and they didn't object. So it was an interesting thing for me, because if it had been me on their side, I might have said no, you know, no photograph, you know, because of pride, self-pride, but I suppose it's a comment on these guys situation that they've lost all self-pride because they didn't care one way or the other whether I photographed them or not, you know. But it was this sense of being like dogs in the street, scavenging for food, and I suppose technically speaking, part of it is it's very, very detailed. You know, if you look at the parts of the picture that are really in focus, then there's very, very sharp detail. Like you could see the main guy, you could see like every wrinkle in his hand and the dirt under his fingernails, and that becomes quite relevant as well, you know. So.
One thing I want to know, obviously you have got the exhibition, so you pass your message across very well. But don't you think so that you can use these photographs to raise funds, to raise charity, for countries like India or other countries like that? Because these photos, they really make you think, they really make you feel for these people. So have you thought on these directions?
Yes. Well, in actual fact, when I was living there, I did some photographs of, there was a slum in Bandra, which is up in the north of Mumbai. I can't remember the name of the slum, but it was a very small slum by, relatively speaking. And I just offered my time. My friend Kenny, who helped to organise this exhibition, he was teaching IT skills, computer skills, especially to the women, because the idea was to empower the women. And if you empower the women, then you empower the whole community. And I went up and took some photographs for them. On a more direct basis, a lot of these sort of individual people that I photographed here, I gave them money at the time. I just as a matter of course, I just thought, well, I'm taking your photograph, you're allowing me to take your photograph, here's some money, In the case of children in India, as you will well know, I mean, a lot of them are very, very keen to be photographed anyway. Even tourists with their compacts, they run up and they ask you to be photographed. Obviously, you've got to draw the line between, because do I trace back every poor person that I photographed and try to give them some money? I mean, it's not realistic. Because the other aspect of it is, I suppose, the kind of objective artist thing, where, in one sense, I photograph the buildings in the same way I photograph the people, which is to say, it's fascinating. It's culturally fascinating. It's visually fascinating. So it's not in that level. It's nothing to do with poverty or politics or anything. But certainly on that level, I think that I don't think I've exploited them in any way. Does a filmmaker go back and, in fact, in some ways, hopefully, I've highlighted. And also they've got personal dignity. I don't think any of them are kind of... And in fact, I used to work in social services. I used to be homeless, briefly, years ago. So the guy who's lying down with his, the old guy with the white beard and his leg crossed over, one of the first things I thought when I saw him, I only looked at him for about 20 seconds, and obviously I had to take the photograph, but one of the first things I remember is, I can relate to that, because there was a part of me that was always kind of, not on the street, but more to do with almost on the street. I could relate to that, and then I moved into working with mental health and social services and working with underprivileged people. So I suppose that's always in the back of my mind as well when I photograph these people.
You can relate your work experience to
my photographs, yeah. But as I say, the overall exhibition is a mixture. So because India is a mixture, it's the only, if I may say, The only section that I couldn't get, that I want to get, are the rich socialites of Delhi and Bombay, because
Totally contrast.
yeah, and because they represent very much the new India, but also the old India, the privileged India, but in a new face, you know, a westernized face. All their clothes are very westernized. The nightclubs they go to are very westernized. Some of their interior decoration is very westernized.